Oh my God.
The only time I feel the pain is in the sunshine and the rain. I don't feel no hurt at all, unless you count when teardrops fall. I'll tell the truth except when I lie, but it only hurts me when I cry.
What's going on, guys? So I wanted to go over my BFL on High Rock Lake. Had a fantastic time, but before I get into that, I want to say a big congratulations to both Jeffrey Davis and Jason Hinger. Jeffrey Davis I actually roomed with for 3 nights there, and he was catching fish the whole time. He was out there, really got it figured out I think on that last day, and just went out there and caught a good bag of fish on Saturday and got it done. I think he weighed maybe just under 19 pounds. So big congratulations to Jeffrey Davis. He does YouTube stuff. I'm sure if you see my videos, you've probably seen his too. But yeah, that's just great stuff. And also Jason Hinger. He came up and fished with me the Wednesday before the tournament, and he's just a really good angler. Does a really good job finding and figuring out how to catch fish out of the back of the boat. He fished a BFL with me on Smith Mountain Lake, my last BFL, and he finished 3rd. So he's on a bit of a streak, so congratulations to you as well. Both of you guys, great stuff, both are great anglers, so job well done. But to get into my practice, you know, practice was tough on me. I was really trying to focus all my efforts offshore, idling a whole bunch of different stuff, trying to find not necessarily schools, but just good quality structure where fish would hold. I found some of that stuff, but it was really like, it was tough getting a lot of bites. I mean, I would pull up on a spot and get 1 or 2 bites, and I would leave it. And then, you know, at different points of the day, you would idle that stuff, and then you would see a lot of fish piled up, and then they would be gone at a different time of the day. So it really seemed like in the afternoon, later in the evenings, the fish would really relate well to the cover, to the structure, the offshore structure. But during the day, you might get, you know, just a couple bites off of that same stuff. So it made practice difficult. It made the decision making difficult, and it seemed like for me, I was getting more bites in creeks off of offshore points, you know, points or humps in creeks, versus off the main lake. I was struggling catching fish off the main lake, but having said that, my best bites were coming off the main lake, right off the Yadkin River ledge. It made decision making for the night before a little more difficult, because I really wanted an early boat draw. There's the places that I was thinking, they are no secret. There are always a boat on them, so I really wanted to get an early boat draw so I could be, you know, first out there and just really camp on a few different key spots. But as it turns out, I was boat 96 out of a 101. They kind of, you know, threw the game plan of what I was hoping for out the window, and made me have to think about where I was going to go fish. Tournament morning rolls around, and we have a nasty layer of fog. I mean, just brutal. Can't see anything in front of you. But this tournament director decided to launch us, which was absolutely ridiculous, super dangerous, probably the most dangerous situation I've ever been in fishing in these BFLs. Last year during Near, there was one day where they launched us and it was pretty bad, but it was patchy fog. So you'd run into a patch and it would be really bad, and then, you know, it would be clear. Well, this wasn't patchy fog at all. It was a thick layer right across the main lake. You couldn't see anything in front of you. I almost ran into a high spot, and I could see everything on my map, and that, whatever reason, didn't seem to help. It was just chaotic, it was dangerous, and it was not cool for the tournament director to let us out that morning as early as he did. But having said that, I decided to fish a main lake spot that I had caught a 7-pounder off of in practice, and I had some other good fish off of that spot. It was my favorite spot, but I knew that it was going to be risky, and in my head I was thinking, if I could just get a couple bites first thing in the morning, I will camp on it all day and try to get 5 keepers. But as it turns out, we fished it for a couple of hours. I missed the one bite that I had. I broke my line, setting the hook terribly, just a stupid hook set, you know, throwing light line, and I had a bad knot. So I broke that off. Error on my part. Fished a little while longer and then decided to run to a second spot up a creek and fish a long point. And you know, it was a bit of a run, and I was really worried someone was going to be sitting on it, and to my surprise there was no one there. So me and my co-angler, we sat on this point. I got my first bite, hooked it on a shaky head, 4-pounder, fighting it to the boat, jumps out of the water again, and then throws my shaky head. It's a 4-pounder. I was disgusted. And then a few casts later, I pick up a crankbait, and a 3-pounder gets it, comes up, and throws the crankbait. So, you know, we're 2.5, 3 hours into this tournament. I've had 3 bites, and 2 that I saw that were good fish that came off. So I keep fishing this point, and I end up throwing a drop shot around and caught 3 more fish off that. So we fished it for a long time. I got 3 keepers off of it, nothing too spectacular in size. And then actually I'll show you the drop shot. There's a little trick worm with a 3/8 ounce weight, wacky styled, and it's in the South Africa special. So we caught 3 off of that, and then we ran to one of those spots that I wanted to start on. I idled over it, and I saw a few fish stacked up on the edge of the point. So, you know, put the weight point down and started throwing a drop shot on it, and you know, was coming through a brush pile with the and I hook into, I didn't even know I had a fish on. You know they're good fish when you don't even know you have one on. And so I set into it, I reel into it, and as soon as it knows it's hooked, it starts just peel and drag. And you know, my heart's pounding. I'm, you know, super nervous. I'm already snake bit. I've lost 2 nice fish that would have put me at a limit, but instead I have 3 fish. So I'm fighting this fish. I'm getting it. I'm working it closer to the boat, closer to the boat, closer to the boat, and then it just pulls off. Just pulls off, and it was probably bigger than that 4-pounder I lost, just based on how heavy it felt and how hard it was fighting. Never saw it, but lost that fish. Felt disgusted, and you know, kept fishing on that same point. And I had one more bite, throwing a DT14, and he bit it right at the boat, and it was, I mean, there's a, I can't see it. Yeah, just a DT14, and like a green chartreuse color. Bit it right underneath the boat. It was the closest. It was an absolute line burner. I don't even know if it would have counted if the people at the scales had to measure it. I mean, I had to work to get it to be 14. So that gave me 4 fish. We continued fishing that area. There was another point in that creek that we fished, not another bite. So I'm sitting with 4 fish in the boat, needing a 5th, and maybe needing a 6th just to get rid of that small one that might not even measure. So I ran to that second spot where I'd had 5 bites earlier in the day, and so my co-angler ended up catching 2 off of that spot, and then I was actually netting a fish for him with I had bombed a crankbait out there and didn't have enough time to reel it in, so I just let it sit there, and I net his fish with one hand. And then as I, you know, land the fish and I start reeling my crankbait, I had a fish on it. So I don't know if a bass ate it as it was coming up, but it was probably, you know, it was a decent, you know, 2.5-pounder that I just kind of lucked into. So I caught that 5th fish. I'm thinking maybe there's a lot more on here. We fish it for another 15-20 minutes. And then it's time to run across the creek that's just absolutely chaotic, tons of boat traffic. We get through there, and we got about 5 minutes to go, and I pull up on that spot where I started, where I was my favorite spot, and I bomb a DD22. I bombed this DD22 right over the waypoints I have, and it felt like I ran into a stump. This fish hit it so hard, and I knew it was a bass. It wasn't like I thought it was a stump. I knew it was a fish. I hooked into it, and I fought it all the way to the boat, and actually it dove underneath the boat and came out the other side while my rod tip was on the other side, and it was jumping. So I had to like bring my rod around the trolling motor, and luckily it was pinned really good, and my co-angler did a good job netting it, and it was maybe like a 4.5 pounder. So I called that really short 14-incher, ran back to the boat ramp to the weigh-in, and I weighed 13.2 and finished 32nd out of 101. So not a great finish, but I mean, considering, you know, the obstacles we had that day, not a bad day. And we actually moved up to 10th in the points, which is great. We got 2 tournaments to go, and I'm like 55 or 60 points out of first place. So going to the James River now, a place that I like to fish, a place that I have done not great, but I haven't done bad. So really looking forward to that. Hopefully we can have a really good tournament there and move up some more spots in the AOY. But yeah, again, congrats to Jeffrey and Justin. Well, I appreciate you guys. Like, comment, give me feedback. I want to hear what you guys think. What kind of content do you guys want to see? And please, if you haven't, subscribe. I appreciate y'all, and we'll see you guys next time.